so what I've done is I've placed some images upside down for you, and we're going to flip them over. You can work together to see what the similarities are and what the differences are. Okay, let's start flipping them over and see what we find.
Okay. Parallel.
Intersecting.
Parallel and
Intersecting.
parallel and
Parallel. Parallel. Parallel.
and intersecting.
Okay, so we find that all the images have some sort of line, right? There's parallel lines, there's intersecting lines. Can you point to a picture that you see parallel lines on? Can you find one that has intersecting lines? Okay, great. So we're going to have two groups. We're going to have parallel lines on this side, and we're going to have intersecting lines on this side. And some of the pictures may have both. What do you think we should do with the ones who have both?
Put them in the middle.
I guess we should put it in the middle.
Okay, all right, so work together to put them into two categories, and then if you find one that has both, you can put it in the middle.
Yes, ma'am. Mommy.
This is intersecting. This is
Parallel. Parallel. Intersecting. Intersecting.
This is a parallel. I think this is both. Might be both, right? Did you see this long part? Crossing?
No, I think it's parallel.
I think it might be both.
Okay,
Don't you think?
so we have them already in groups, and I wanted to talk to you about intersecting lines for a minute. There's a lot of intersecting lines here. Do they all look exactly the same?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Can you find two that look exactly the same? These two? Okay, what is the same about them?
Well, they both like do like a plus sign.
Right.
Okay, if you see here, there's a plus sign on it. It looks like it. And here on the fence, it looks like it also.
Great. What is different about this and this? The lines on here on the tree.
The lines on here in the tree are going
Different ways.
different ways, and right here they're just going straight.
Okay, so these are special kind of intersecting lines, and these are called perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines form right angles. Do you remember what a right angle is?
90 degrees.
Yes.
Okay. It's 90 degrees, right?
I don't really know what to tell you.
So let's put some more perpendicular lines under this flashcard.
Yes, ma'am.
That's kind of hard to tell on that one, right? I would just leave that one with the intersecting since we don't really see that it forms a right angle. What about this one?
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
And this one right there has a right angle.
Great.
It has a 90 degree angle.
Okay. So I'm going to show you right now on the board what are the three different kinds of lines that we're looking at. I'm just going to draw a line right in the middle. Okay, kind of in the middle. And we're going to put intersecting lines on this side. And we're going to put parallel lines on this side. One easy way to remember how to identify parallel lines is that parallel has two L's, which form parallel lines, right?
Yes.
Okay, do you see right here it looks like
L.
L's? Okay. So parallel lines can go up and down, they can also go side to side, or they can even be at an angle, right?
Yes.
What you have to remember about parallel lines is that if they go on forever and ever, they will never cross, they will never touch, okay? They will never intersect. So, on this bench, in the picture, they're placed the same distance apart. So will they ever touch or meet if they keep going on forever?
No, they're not touch.
Okay.
They will not touch.
All right. And I know some of these are kind of hard to tell. This one has parallel and intersecting lines. That's fine. What we need to make sure is that if they're somewhat parallel, even if they're kind of like this, if they go on forever, these will probably touch eventually. Okay? Intersecting lines can be in any angle. They can also be, like you mentioned, a plus sign, which form a right angle. They can be like an X. Some X's have right angles, some of them don't, so that's a little bit hard to tell. What does this square mean that I drew right there?
90 degrees.
That means 90 degrees. So then you can be sure that this is a parallel line. I'm sorry, a perpendicular line, right? Okay, so what we're going to do next, we're just going to play a little game using graph paper. Can you put all the pictures together for me, please?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And I made these little spinners, and we're going to spin to see which line we form. Now, when you go out in your car to the store or something, where do you see parallel and perpendicular lines?
I see parallel lines like in the road when they have like lines.
Okay, great.
I see parallel lines on the shelves.
Okay, all right, great. So, kind of taking your idea on the road, when you see parallel and perpendicular lines, we're going to make a map. So, I'm going to show you how by using the ruler and the spinner. Okay. So I spinned it one time and it tells me to draw a perpendicular line. I can start anywhere. This is going to be my whole map. So I'm going to draw a perpendicular line. I want it right kind of in the middle. You can make it as long as you want on either side. Okay. Now I'm going to spin it again. Now it's telling me to draw an intersecting line. Let me see how I can do this. Intersecting line doesn't have to be at a right angle, so I can draw it really any way I want. Let's say from this line, I draw it like this. There. And I keep it going this way. Does that look like a street? Not yet, right? So let's draw some more lines. Okay? Parallel line. I'm going to draw a parallel line. Okay? Does it look like a street now?
Yes.
A little bit more?
Yeah.
Okay? Okay, perpendicular lines again. Okay? Now it's looking more like a city, right?
Yes.
Okay? And I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to spin it about as an intersecting line 2 more times just to get enough lines in here. And I'm going to try to form kind of the grid of a map. Parallel lines. Okay. One more time. Another parallel line. Okay. And I can use my markers to outline the streets. For example, I'm going to make sure that I close in this part and keep it straight like this. Okay. Right. And you can also make a playground in your city. You can have a store. What store have you been at lately? What's the last store you went to?
99-cent store?
The 99-cent store. So we're going to write 99-cent store right here.
Oh, wow, we're making like a city.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, how about restaurant?
How about a restaurant? Okay. What restaurant do you like?
I guess Cece's Pizza.
Let's put Cece's Pizza right here.
That's the last restaurant I've been there too.
Okay. I'm going to put Cece's Pizza. What about your school? Should we draw your school?
In elementary.
Okay. Let's start your school right here, across the street from Cece's Pizza.
Yay!
We also want to need some houses. An apartment.
Okay, houses and apartments. Okay.
Let's see right here. Let's do like a little lake.
Oh, great idea.
A park.
Yep. Okay, so let's make a lake next to the park, right? So now you're going to help me out. Can you spin it for me, please? And then we're going to draw one more line.
We got intersecting.
Intersecting line. Okay? Where would you like me to place that intersecting line?
Right here.
All right, it's going to intersect 3 different lines. Okay. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to give you some graph paper. We're going to do it together. You have your pencil. Okay. I'm going to have one spinner here, and I'll spin another one. And let's see what we get. Go ahead, give it a spin, and we'll draw it together.
Alright then.
It won't look exactly the same, but it'll be just fine.
Parallel lines.
Okay, let's draw some parallel lines on our graph paper. We need some rulers. There we go.
The rulers I
We write them like in the place where we were.
Yes.
Okay then.
You're going to start creating your own city. Okay, parallel lines. Do you have to draw just 2 parallel lines? What do you think? One?
No, two.
No,
Two parallel lines.
2, yes.
It takes two lines to create a parallel line.
Yes. Or it could be more like in our pictures, right?
I messed up.
You're all right. You still have 2 parallel lines. That's great. Okay, so once you have your 2 lines, we'll be able to spin it again. Okay? Ready? Go ahead. Intersecting line. Okay, so we'll try to figure out where you're going to draw your lines so that they're intersecting. Okay, great. All right, spin it again. Parallel lines. Okay, let's draw some parallel lines. Try going in opposite directions of what you already have.
I messed up again.
It's okay. There you go. Hold the ruler like this. Good job.
Oh. Good.
It's all right. Okay, great. It looks like you know what you're dealing with. Can you draw for me a perpendicular line since it hasn't come up in the spinner? Let's try a perpendicular line on your map. What does the perpendicular line have to have?
90-degree angle.
Okay? Okay. Alright, so I'm going to let you use the crayons and markers so that you can start creating your city, your map of your city.
Okay. Can you start?
Yes. And you can use the spinner again if you want to draw more lines.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I think it was probably. Okay, now it's going to see through right here. So. perpendicular.
Okay.
Yay!
Oops.
It's okay.
I have a sword that goes through
It's alright.
and another one.
So what are important things that you want to have in your city?
A school.
You want to have a school?
Can we also put fiction places there?
Sure.
Okay.
Can I put the White House?
You can put the White House in there, yes.
This is Washington, D.C.
Okay, great. So I love the way your maps are turning out. I'm going to ask you to grab the black marker. And can you please outline a major parallel line street that you have on your map? Okay, great. How do you know that your line is parallel?
I don't know, because it ain't slanted. Because if it's slanted, it's going to cross and it's going to be an intersecting line.
Okay.
These two lines right here,
Mm-hmm.
these two right here, they are not crossing each other.
Great.
If it goes endlessly.
Okay, so your parallel lines, if they go on forever, they won't cross, right? Okay. Can you outline with your black marker on your map an intersecting lines? Great. Can you put a little dot in the center where they cross? Okay. You know these are intersecting because they cross, but how do you know that they're not perpendicular?
Oops.
It's alright. Okay, intersecting lines can have any angle or they can be perpendicular.
Oh.
Did you find one that's perpendicular?
Yes.
That's great. So how do you know that it is perpendicular?
If you see here, this line
Mm-hmm.
and this line, both make a plus sign.
They make a plus sign. What angle do they make?
A 90 degrees.
A 90-degree right angle. Very good. Did you find one that is not perpendicular?
Yes, I found an intersecting line.
Okay. And how do you know that it's not perpendicular?
It's not perpendicular because it does not have a 90-degree angle.
Okay, great. Now, can you find one that is perpendicular in your map? Can you find one that is not perpendicular in your map?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, it's easy to tell with the graph paper that it is perpendicular, like you said on yours, because you have the little squares to tell you where the right angles are.
The grid squares.
The grid squares. Yes, excellent. Okay, guys, so let me have your maps. They look excellent. And I'm going to give you just some questions. The first one is done for you, and we're going to look at it together. And it says, we're going to fill in the bubbles in the front that describes the lines that are kind of drawn there for you. The first one, here's the example. Can you tell me if they are intersecting, parallel, or perpendicular lines?
Intersecting.
They're intersecting because they don't make a 90-degree angle, and that's why they're not parallel, and they're not perpendicular because they don't have a 90-degree angle, but they're not parallel because they already crossed.
They also don't make a right angle.
Yeah, correct. Okay, so you guys are correct. The example says that they are intersecting lines. And then there's a little section here where you'll fill out kind of exactly what you just said. It says, how do you know? It says, I know these are intersecting lines because they cross. I know they're not perpendicular because they don't cross cross at right angles. That's almost exactly what you said, right? So I'm going to give one of these to each of you, and you're going to do the next 3 with your pencil, yes. Great, now that you're both ready, we're going to go over it together. So let's go through question A. It has 3 lines. They're all kind of different distances long. What would you say these lines are? Are they parallel, intersecting, or perpendicular lines?
I'd say parallel lines.
Okay, great. Why would you say parallel lines?
Because if you see there, they're all straight. They're not like going to cross each other.
Okay.
They go on endlessly.
Yeah, me too, parallel, because if they go on, they will never touch each other.
So you can infer that if these lines keep going on, they will not probably cross. Okay? We're just... will not cross or intersect. Okay, great. That's the correct answer. All right, let's go to problem B. If we see the drawing here, it's two different lines, and they're going in different directions. Are these intersecting, parallel lines, or perpendicular
I'll
lines?
say that it's perpendicular.
Yeah, because it makes a right angle, which
It
is
makes
a 90 degrees angle.
because it has this little cube on it, and that means 90 degrees.
Great, so you noticed this little area right here with the mark that says it's perpendicular because it forms a right angle, right? So, could this also be an intersecting line?
Intersecting, yes.
Great. Now, perpendicular lines are a type of intersecting line, but it's specifically asking you for a perpendicular line because it shows you that it makes a right angle, right? Okay, let's go on to C. Okay, we see two lines that are going in different directions. Would this be an intersecting lines, parallel lines, or perpendicular
I'll
lines?
say they are perpendicular
Yes,
lines
me too.
because
Because if you just turn it over, the page over, you'll see that
Same as this one.
that they make a plus sign.
Right.
And also because they have that right angle.
Great. So it has the
90 degrees.
90-degree indicator right there. So we're going to say that these are perpendicular lines because they also form a right angle. And do you have any questions?
No.
Yes.
Okay.
What does it say here that it says continued on back and there's no more questions?
I don't have any more questions that relate to our specific activity, so you're good to go. You have answered the 3 questions that I had for you.
Oh,
Do you have any more questions about the lines?
no.
No? You good? Thumbs up if you get it. Okay, great. Thank you so much.